Thank you and welcome back to the show. We're going straight to the analysis tonight where we'll be taking the big story ahead of the 2023 general elections. We're obviously taking a look at where each of the candidates are standing in terms of their strength and weakness. And one can undoubtedly say that each of these presidential candidates have their own strength. And what about their weakness? These are issues we shall be looking at tonight on the show. And once again, let me quickly introduce in the building, talking about Chief Okoy Obono of Light. It's my pleasure to have you.
Good evening.
It's always a pleasure having you on the program. Let's, before we start to talk about some of these political parties and their candidates, let's bring you closer to what seems to be a reality. The leader of the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization, Afenifere, led by Adebanjo, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, says the Afenifere won't be supporting your candidate. Talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, does this give you any sense of concern?
Afenifere is a flash in the pan. They don't have the strength that they want us believe, because they didn't support Buhari in 2015. They didn't support Muhammadu Buhari. They didn't support him in 2019. They supported Atiku. Okay. And Buhari still won. And also, let me recall that they fell out with Bola Tinubu as far back as 2001, when he was governor of Lagos State. And despite their spirited opposition to Bola Tinubu, he still won with a landslide in 2003. He also, so that is it.
So are you saying
they are not best of friends?
Are you saying Afenifere's standing in any of these political
yes, because they are not
politicians,
they are armchair critics or armchair politicians, and they don't have grasp of the grassroots. As Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has a complete grasp of the grassroots in the southwest. So their support for Ahmed Tinubu is of no moment. Their support for P2B is of no moment. I can assure you that.
Okay, just before we start the show proper, let's also bring you up to speed with first, Abuja was agog, as we can see on those visuals there.
Yeah.
We had the supporters of Mr. Peter Obi. They took the streets of Abuja with massive crowd, as you can see on your screens, and they were chanting and saying, "Our mumu don't do."
Well, we don't need to worry about that. These rented people. If we want to come out on the streets of Abuja, Abuja will be completely locked down. If we want to come out in the streets of Lagos, Lagos will be completely locked down. APC,
okay.
APC, the biggest party in Black Africa. There's no doubt about that. You know, we have our strength, and they know that we are strong. It's not people coming from all over the country to converge in Abuja and parading the street doesn't show the strength of P2B. P2B, unfortunately, has no strength anywhere in the country.
Okay, we've not started talking about the weakness and the strength yet, but I'm just bringing you up to speed with the realities. And then today again, we have pictures of Mr. Peter Obi's arrival at Obasanjo's residence. You can see those pictures there. This seems to be the umpteenth time the former president has received Peter Obi, and just 2 days ago, he was in Mina.
Yes. Yeah, well, that is why I said that P2B is a flash in the pan. Okay. Contrary to the impression that is the new face of Nigerian politics. If you say you want a new Nigeria, or you are a revolutionary to bring about a new Nigeria, why must you be romancing for people who are responsible for the woes of the country?
Are you saying the former president Obasanjo was responsible for?
Yes, Obasanjo was president, and he invested $16 billion in, for electricity, that he was going to give us electricity. And $16 billion were invested, and we didn't have electricity. So some of these people who are the problems of this country, and this man who says is the new face of Nigerian politics, P2B, is romancing with them. So he has no message for us.
Okay, in case you've just joined us on the show, this is Nigeria Watch, and We have Chief Okoy Obonobla in the building. We're taking a look at the weakness and strength of some of the political parties, frontline political candidates representing their parties. We have in the lineup Musa Kwankwaso representing the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. We have the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. And of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu representing the All Progressives Congress, and the former vice president is Atiku Abubakar. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll kickstart with what looks like the strength and weakness of each of these candidates of the respective political parties. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on the BRTV channel 102. This is Nigeria Watch. Laws of the land, the fact that my friends abroad have to send money to support me.
By now, they can afford to pay the few individuals coming out to vote, and then by that simple majority they've won, and that's not necessary.
Welcome back. In case you've just joined us, this is Nigeria Watch, where we bring you people, economy, politics, and governance. It's your evening tonic, and we're so delighted to have you on the show. You can also be part of the program. The number to call is 0907-177-1985. On the show tonight, we're taking a look at the high point and the low career of some of the political party candidates. Let's kickstart with Musa Kwankwaso, a former governor of Kano State, a former senator, and of course flying the flag of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP. We'll give you more of his biography and of course profile in the course of the program. But back to Chief Okoy Obonobla. Let's take a look at Alhaji Kwankwaso.
Yes.
He's rich in terms of party politics.
Exactly. He's very experienced. He was a legislator, you know, during Babangida's political transition program. He was a deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. Okay. Then he became governor of Kano State from 1999 to 2003. Yeah. In 2003, he lost. And then he became Minister for Defense in Obasanjo's government from 2003 to 2007. Okay. Then in 2011, he staged a comeback. He won, and then second time as governor of Kano State. Yeah. So he's quite experienced, and I thought that he would be like the successor to President Muhammadu Buhari in the northern part of the country, because President Muhammadu Buhari had huge followership in the northern part of the country. Okay. So I thought Kwankwaso will replace him, you know, but he made a mistake. And let me tell you why. In 2015, he challenged President Muhammadu Buhari.
In 2003?
Yes, in the presidential primary election in Lagos. Okay. He lost. Okay, then he was elected a senator under APC in 2015. So then, surprisingly, he decamped from APC back to PDP in 2019. Okay. So he lost followership in the northern part of the country. You know, that he was mustering. As I told you, some people thought he would replace President Muhammadu Buhari in northern Nigeria.
Okay. In terms of followership?
Followership, yes. But he has lost it. I have a lot of admiration for him. But I don't think he had been able to gain the momentum and traction.
What do you make of his failed marriage with the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi? There was supposed to be a collaboration, a merger between the Labour Party. Do you think that could have given him the needed strength in the East and the Southwest? Yes.
Well, you know that they are strange bedfellows. They don't belong to the same political tradition. You know, Peter Obi.
No, in this case, we're talking about Kwankwaso.
I just want to tell about Peter Obi,
okay,
the political tradition he belongs to.
Okay.
He was in PDP,
okay,
unknown to a lot of people. Then he went to APGA. Then from APGA, he went back to PDP, and then Labour. One would have thought that Peter Obi will build a strong political machinery like the one Tinubu did in the Southwest.
Okay.
He would have done that in the Southeast, maybe South, to the largest extent. That would have given him the regional, platform to take a plunge at presidential election. Okay. He did do that. So how can he, work with Kwankwaso? They belong to different political traditions. Kwankwaso is from Kano. Okay. Kano is a hotbed of Nigerian radical politics. You can talk about we can talk about Aminu Kano. Aminu Kano was a Kano man, and he was a member of Northern Element Progressive Union. Okay. That fought Northern People's Congress. Northern People's Congress was a very strong political party, and the Northern People's Congress were conservatives like Ahmadu Bello, and so forth and so on. But you fought them. Kano fought them. Okay. And spread his tentacles to northeast, to Borno, the present Borno state.
But at this point, sorry for cutting you.
Yeah.
One is also in doubt about the fact that Rabiu Kwankwaso will, at the middle of this, even though the Electoral Act doesn't agree to this, throw his weight behind another political, another party candidate.
He has told us that he has a lot of admiration and respect for, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
But the Electoral Act won't permit that.
It won't permit that, but that doesn't mean that he cannot step down and ask his supporters to vote for Asiwaju. But he cannot become Asiwaju's running mate. He cannot resign, from NPP and joined APC now as a presidential candidate. But I foresee him maybe stepping down for Asiwaju because he has used his mouth to tell us that he has a lot of respect for Asiwaju, that he doesn't mind supporting Asiwaju. Okay, I think he's handling for maybe 2032. When the pendulum will swing back to the northern Nigeria. So I think that is what he's doing, testing the ground.
Okay.
But I don't see him winning this election because the party is a party. NNPP has remained a regional party.
Okay, NNPP has remained a regional party.
Yes,
we might not want to dwell on the Kwankwaso at the moment, but in case you've just joined us, we're taking a look at what makes each of the presidential candidates of the respective political parties strong and weak. We have just taken on the Musa Kwankwaso, Alhaji Senator Musa Kwankwaso. Let's move now to Atiku Abubakar from the northeast Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, for the much that Nigerians know, also a former governor. And he's run for the office of the president for the 6th time.
Yes, I think his finest moment was 2003 when he wanted to challenge President Obasanjo. Unknowing to Obasanjo, he had used the machinery of government to set up a very formidable political machinery.
The former vice president?
Yes, that's what he did in 2003. And he nearly, surprised Obasanjo. And Obasanjo had to, according to, news or rumor, that Obasanjo begged him. And Obasanjo felt humiliated. And that is responsible for the frosty relationship they had from 2003 to 2007. So that was his finest moment. I don't think he will have the momentum and traction to win this 2003 presidential election. He has lost it because he's an old, political war horse, and he has been around. But he has not been, what I don't like about his politics, despite he has plenty of money, despite he has followership, he has not been able to set up his own political machinery, maybe a political party, floating a political party, and using that platform to contest and win elections, just like President Muhammad Buhari and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu did. He has not been able to do that.
Okay,
so,
let's talk about a little about the frosty relationship
yes,
between himself and his former boss, the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. We've had several of these rumors, and even in the books published by the former president. One is wondering that what could have been too bad not to be able to settle even at a point like this in our nationhood. Talking about Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and the former, his former vice president.
I would never see them, settling, even despite the fact that in 2019 they pretended that they were, settling.
When you say pretended, what do you mean?
Where former president Obasanjo received him, he went to Otta, and Obasanjo received him. They had a photo section, and Obasanjo said, okay, he has taken back all the bitter words. Oh. All the bitter remarks, sarcastic remarks, and and very malicious, exchange of words, statements he made against him. Okay. So despite that, it didn't stay, it didn't last. It has evaporated.
So all that was,
it was not coming from their hearts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is his high?
I mean, Tinubu, Atiku.
Atiku.
No, I have told you he has lost it. His biggest moment was 2003. He has lost it. Okay, because.
I mean, going into the 2023 elections.
Yes, because he look at the rumpus in his party.
Okay.
But due to his miscalculation, due to his fact that the political pendulum was swinging south.
Okay.
So one would expect that somebody who is experienced, who is an old political warhorse, will follow that momentum.
So are you saying he should have supported
exactly
the governor,
particularly somebody from the southeast,
okay,
that supported him ferociously in 2019?
Okay.
Yes. So I thought he was going to support somebody from the southeast.
Okay.
Okay. To return back all the massive support of the southeast for PDP. But he was who started everything. And that is haunting him. The party is in trouble. His party is in trouble.
So are you holding the governor of Rivers State accountable for the shambles in the People's Democratic Party?
If I was Wike, I would behave exactly the way he's behaving. And if I was a southerner from, in PDP, okay, I would have been very angry with Atiku, because like he stabbed the southerners on the back, despite the fact that particularly the southeast, the south-south, where PDP has the greatest strength, he stabbed them on the back. So if I was a member of PDP, I would be very, very upset with him.
So are you not seeing PDP perhaps magnanimously getting a hands-on in few states of the federation during the 2020 elections?
Well, where they will.
You're talking about North, you're talking about Adamawa states,
yeah.
You're talking about Sokoto.
Well, they may get, but you need to have at least 24 states in your kitty. Okay. You have to win the majority of the lawful votes in 1/3 of 2/3 of the 26 states and the federal capital Abuja.
And that's 24.
Yes, it's not easy. So I don't see him having that crowd of making 25% in the southwest. He may make maybe 25% in the south-south. I don't see him winning the southeast. The southeast people are not happy with him, and that is the momentum P2B is enjoying.
Okay. In case you've just joined us, we're taking analysis of some of the presidential candidates and their political parties ahead of the 2023 general election. Chief Okoy Obanobla is a lawyer, and let's move straight now without wasting time to take a look at the All Progressives Congress candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who, for several reasons, many have considered a Jagaban.
Yes. Look, let me tell you what Senator Makura, the former governor of Nasarawa State, from 2011 to 2019, is a current senator. He's very experienced. He went to school in Uyo. Okay. Yes. Makura went to school in Uyo. Oh. Yes. I was the secretary of his think tank when he was trying to be national chairman of APC. And he told us that this was March. that the strongest, the most formidable southern Nigerian politician is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that maybe in the whole Nigeria, Ahmed Bola Tinubu is the strongest politician in contemporary Nigeria. Okay. Because he has been able to build bridges across the country, in all the regions, or make friendship with all the political gladiators, and stakeholders, traditional rulers, and so businessmen, and so forth and so on. And that is the broad support you need to muster to win the presidency of Nigeria.
Are you talking about his strength now?
Yes, I'm talking about his strength. He is very strong. You can see what happened, in the APC presidential primaries. Before then, people were doubting if he is there, because people used to talk about the anointed candidates, that he was not going to win. But he won with a wide margin because he has been preparing himself to be president.
But there are also allegations that some of the votes were bought by your.
Well, I don't know about that. I know about that.
They were accused of paying huge sums of monies to some of the people who came to vote.
Yes, to all the delegates.
The delegates.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I wasn't there.
Okay. But you're not sure if there was any money paid to the delegates?
It's not enough to have money in politics.
Okay.
If you don't have the goodwill, if you don't have the grassroots support, if you don't have the network, if you don't have the connection, you can never win, even though you throw money all over the place.
So are you saying the the sitting vice president doesn't have all of these qualities? Talking about the current vice president, Professor
I don't want to focus on Professor Sibanjo.
No, I'm trying to ask you, do you think your party couldn't have produced someone else other than the current former governor of Lagos State?
Why?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed
Tinubu. He won the election, clearly.
Okay.
So he won. Exactly. So he contested. Everybody contested with him. Very strong people. Rotimi Amechi, the vice president, and so forth and so on. They contested, and he won.
There's so much noise about why Professor Osibanjo's name is not in the campaign list, and your party also postponed the formal inauguration of the Presidential Campaign Council.
Well, Festus Keyamo has explained that the president doesn't want everybody in the administration in the campaign so that they will abandon governance. He has explained, so I have nothing to say about that. So I support his position. His minister is the spokesperson. They must have briefed him before going to the public to say that.
How has Tinubu been able to unify and bring together the likes of former Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Amechi, Onu, a former Minister of Science and Tech, a former Governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, and all of other aspirants, they just concluded primary of your party. They seem not to be very silent and quiet.
Well,
do you think they are muzzling something?
I have seen some names, some of them in the Presidential Campaign Council.
Okay.
That means they cannot put their names in the list without their support. At that level, they may have had discussions, with them before, going public with their names. So I believe they are supporting Asiwaju.
Okay, in case you've just joined us, let's get to the last on the list, the frontline, the presidential candidate of the various political parties we brought you earlier. We spoke about the former governor of Kano State, Musa Kwankwaso, senator, and of course we also talked about the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, and the former governor of Lagos State, former senator as well, and the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Jagaban, as it's popularly called. And finally, recently, we also brought you visuals of how supporters of the Labour Party candidate, talking about the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. You can see that mammoth crowd, but but we can hear from Chief Okoye-Bonobla to say that these large crowds were actually paid to be here, and that this crowd cannot make any impact ahead of the 2023 elections. And Chief Okoye-Bonobla, let's take a look at the personality, the highs and the lows for Mr. Peter Obi at this point in time.
Yes, I have told you he lacks the broad support that a presidential candidate is, supposed to have. And then his identification with people who have been making insinuation. He has not come out categorically to say, look, I'm not sympathetic to IPOD. Somebody who wants to be president of Nigeria should not be identified with an irredentis group.
But okay. we are yet to have any of the northern candidates, or in fact the presidency, come out to say they condemn completely what is happening in the northeast. In several occasions, yes.
No,
none of the governors.
No, you can't say that.
Okay.
They are fighting Boko Haram. I mean, from when Boko Haram started troubling Nigeria. Remember in 2013 or so, the president's convoy, the current president, his convoy was bombed.
They only referred to them as bandits.
Yes, that time you didn't hear about bandits.
Yeah.
So what I expect P2B to do is to come out and make a categorical statement, unequivocal statement that is not part of what IPOD is doing. Then condemn IPOD. But a lot of his people are, IPOD people.
But what is IPOD looking for?
Well, they say they want to break away from Nigeria. And in this age, 2022, we shouldn't be talking about breaking from Nigeria. And P2B comes from Anambra State, the heartland of IPOD. So I expect him.
Does the Nigerian Constitution forbid any part of it seceding?
Why not? Sure.
What does the Constitution say?
Oh, they say Nigeria is unbreakable. It's there.
And where you are not well treated, there is injustice, what do you do?
Well, everybody can complain of injustice. I'm from the South. I can say that I'm suffering injustice. But that shouldn't make me to say I want to break the country.
You break out of the country. You don't break the country.
No, you don't. You won't allow that, because those of us who believe in Nigeria, who are federalists, I'm a federalist, because I believe we should have Nigeria. We should have a big country like Nigeria. And there are a lot of advantages in having a big country like Nigeria. The United States is big. Brazil is big. Even France, Germany, they're all big countries. India. So we should have a big country in Africa. And this country will not break. This country was amalgamated in 2014. We have had several federations, that had, broken. Malaysia was and Singapore, the federation. Zambia and Malawi. I think Rhodesia, which is Zimbabwe, they were a federation. Even Egypt and Syria, they all fell apart. But Nigeria is still standing like the Rock of Gibraltar. So anybody who wants to break Nigeria, I will not be happy with him, because I lost several members of my family during the Civil War. Several of them were killed. So I don't want another civil war. I want Nigeria to remain one. If you are aggrieved, there are so many institutions, in Nigeria that you can use, to, make your voice to be heard and ask for redress. It's not by fighting the country.
Okay, and if there is anyone amongst all of these candidates that should be president, other than Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who should that be? I'm asking you.
For now, the best person to be president is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I said, look, I have a small sympathy for Kwankwaso, but he made a mistake. The mistake he made was leaving APC to join PDP. After he was among the governors, PDP governors, who fought their party to a standstill, and they moved away to APC and condemned PDP. So it seems like somebody, a dog, taking back his vomit. I don't expect that from him, because he's very, very educated, he's very sound.
Thank you.
And he has political experience.
Thank you so much. It's been nice having you on the program.
Thank you.
As usual,
Thank you.
Chief Okoye Obonoblai was the analyst on the show tonight. We've been taking a look at some of the presidential candidates for the 2023 election, their highs and their lows. And in case you've just joined us, let's give you a recap of some of the newspaper headlines we brought to you. Why Afenifere won't support Tinubu at Debanjo. Still from the Punch newspaper, we brought you a report that national grid collapses again. Lagos others in blackout. Resumption, VCs succumb to federal government open attendance register for varsity lectures. My job was to lead gang members to victims' houses. I got 1.5 million naira and $10,000. Ikechukwu Ewa. And finally, we brought you a report from the Nigeria Watch Online. Peter Obi meet Obasanjo in his residence. We also brought you a report that massive turnout enveloped Abuja Federal Capital Territory weekend, where mammoth crowds of supporters of the former governor of Anambra State and candidate of the Labour Party took to the streets. And that's the size of the show tonight. Thank you so much, Albert, for your time. And, of course, my producer and assistant talking about Abayomi Abomire. Not forgetting the engineer on duty, Philip. My name is Abasi Odu Idion. You can follow me on your social media space at ApsoBaba. Let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. You know I love you. Good night.